Drink from your soul and feel the cardamom swirl inside you, dancing in circles toward the moon with no intent of leaving soon. Upon your lips the burn will surely sting, only to melt after and make your heart sing. How could something be so bitter and sweet? Such is the sacrifice and reward of this retreat. But don't waste your time chasing the steam that eludes you. Behold the creations, the Creator that produced you. Travel beneath the clouds and submerge into this lake. Only there will you find yourself truly awake. A reflection, a smile, is all you think you see. But your third eye sees more if you can just believe. For nothing can truly hold what you have in store. Not a cup, not an ocean, not anything more. So let the cup shatter, let the pieces spill around you. Only when you are broken can the one piece surround you. For just as leaves turn green after becoming red, you can only begin healing once you have bled. Listen closely and hear the bells ringing in the distance. It's time to let go of the pieces and leave this instance. Drink all you can, but know that it will never go away. Who you are inside, your essence, is always here to stay. As you can hear, this poem is full of symbols. Let's first start with the title. Drinking is a very common symbol in mystic poetry. In the medieval world especially, one encounters multiple references to drinking, becoming drunk, and interacting with the server or cupbearer who would pour these drinks. These references are almost always figurative and point to the consumption of an even deeper substance, divine love. In Sufi poetry, wine is often used to represent divine love, with the concept of being drunk representing the ecstasy one experiences when reunited with their beloved. Closely related to this is the fabled elixir of life, also known as the Philosopher's Stone, which is said to grant immortality to the one who drinks it. In alchemical terms, this could refer to a special substance that can transmute lead into gold. But in mystical terms, it can refer to transforming from one's lowest or false self, or the lead, into one's real self and source, the gold. But regardless of the actual liquid being consumed, the essence is almost always the same. You are taking something in, something that you either did not have or more accurately, did not know you have. So to drink from your soul means to drink from that part of you that you didn't even know you had. That garden or paradise that is your soul, which you have kept trapped and hidden underneath the ego's fog. With that context in mind, we can now ease into uncovering the wisdom within each of the poem's 6 stanzas, starting with the first one. Drink from your soul and feel the cardamom swirl inside you, dancing in circles toward the moon with no intent of leaving soon. We see here one's initial interaction with the drink, in this instance a warm cup of tea or bold Turkish coffee, as hinted by the cardamom reference. The cardamom, in fact, is a symbol of the ecstatic bliss we experience when we drink from our soul, when we tap into that visceral part of us that escapes words or definition. This bliss, or love, takes over our entire body. It gives us goosebumps, makes us feel lighter, and raises our mood, energy, and level of peace. We feel a certain sense of aliveness, entering a state of being that's not encumbered by thoughts or worries. And just as the cardamom swirls around when poured into the cup, the love swirls inside us, dancing in circles toward the moon, which is an allusion to the Sufi practice of Sama. Sama is a form of meditation and dance practiced by Sufis and characterized by rolling in repetitive circles until the ego is destroyed and one rejoins source. It's an ancient practice popularized by the ruling dervishes of the Mevlevi order, which was founded by Rumi in the 13th century. In the process of Sama, one abandons their nafs, or ego, becomes lost in the music, becomes one with God, and rolls in ecstasy, a symbol of the rolling motion of the planets orbiting around the sun. The dance itself is filled with symbolism. The practitioner's hat, for example, represents the ego's tombstone, while their wide white skirt represents the ego's veil. The practitioner, or samozan, starts by removing their black cloak and thus being spiritually reborn to the ultimate truth. He or she then crosses their arms, giving them the appearance of the number 1, which signifies unity with God. Once the samozan begins rolling, their arms begin to open, with the right hand pointing toward the sky, signifying God's love of humanity, and the left hand pointing toward the ground, establishing a connection with the earthly human body and its heavenly source. And in this peaceful yet alive state, the samozan, in union with their beloved, embraces all of humanity with eternal love. In fact, you may have noticed that the cover art for this podcast is a samozan practicing Sama. Of course, the samozan has to eventually end the meditation. But when we return to the final line of the first stanza, we see that this love has no intention of leaving us. The dance may end, but the feeling can last for eternity. It is there for us to bask in for however long we wish, if we can only surrender to it and continually remove all the barriers that prevent us from melting completely into its arms. But as wonderful as this love is, it doesn't happen on its own. Just like anything, there is a price to nirvana. And that price is simple. It's ourself. It's that part of us, the ego, that we thought we have been all this time, but are really not. The question is, though, are you willing to give yourself up? Listen closely to these lines and see if you can pick up the symbolism. Upon your lips the burn will surely sting, only to melt after and make your heart sing. How could something be so bitter and sweet? Such is the sacrifice and reward of this retreat. When we drink a hot cup of tea or coffee, we burn ourselves. The burn only lasts a brief moment, but it's enough to make us want to put the cup down and let it cool before we try again. In a spiritual sense, that burn represents the sacrifices we make to tap into our soul. It could be experiencing a feeling of intense loneliness, in which you feel that no one really understands you or the special journey you are on. It can be mind-numbing boredom, where you feel the world and everyone in it is passing by while you remain stuck or idle without any noticeable progression forward. Or perhaps it can be the confusion and fear of not knowing whether you will actually experience the peace and bliss you are looking for. Whatever the challenge is, the narrow path to awakening is only traveled by the select few who are brave and resilient enough to let go of everything they thought they knew, to experience true knowledge and wisdom. No one ever said that seeking spiritual awakening is easy. And this stanza certainly alludes to that by saying that the burn will surely sting. But then, after all these struggles, something miraculous happens. The burn melts, and you can finally taste the sweetness of the drink. You can taste the sweetness of bliss. In fact, without the burn, you wouldn't be able to taste the sweetness. The burn is the sweetness. Because the burn is not there to hurt you. It's there to heal you. You are burning away your old self, your old habits, your old ways of living and thinking. You are burning away your ego and all the games it plays to distract you from realizing your true essence. And this is what makes one's heart truly sing. As Rumi once said, the wound is the place where the light enters you. So while the sacrifice of this retreat is great, the reward is even greater. The seeker who submits to this bliss, who submits to this love, can finally heal instead of adding to all the pain and suffering they've accumulated their entire life. There is no need for defense mechanisms anymore, as there is nothing to defend against. We are not the fragile beings we think we are. We are ineffably bigger. Hafiz summed it up best when he said, "I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being." And so the burn, the darkness, and everything else that we perceive as bad is not really bad. It's our ego that is telling us it's bad. But when we sacrifice our ego, we enter a new world, a sort of retreat where we can let our guards down and just be. Once we get a taste of this love, we inevitably want more. We want more because some part of us recognizes that this has been our true identity and home all along. This brings us to the following lines of the poem. But don't waste your time chasing this theme that eludes you. Behold the creations, the creator that produced you. Travel beneath the clouds and submerge into this lake. Only there will you find yourself truly awake. As seen through Attar's poem, we spend our entire lives chasing steam, chasing the superficial things that don't really enrich our lives or point us toward our real home. But one can't really catch steam. If we try to grasp it with our hands, it will only pass through. Thus, this line shows the futility of trying to fulfill our personal desires. Doing so only strengthens our ego and the inherent suffering it brings. Instead, we should be more aware of everything around us. If we spend more time getting out of our thoughts and instead carefully noticing all the creations, we will feel a deep sense of interconnectedness. There is no longer a me against the world mentality. Instead, it becomes a me and the world, or more aptly, my true essence is the world. By spending less time thinking about ourselves and more time noticing and contemplating the world around us, we become reminded of the Creator who put all of this, including ourselves, together. Our hearts become a bit tender, and we feel a sense of joy, a sense of stillness where peace and wisdom can finally unfold. This is love. This is the bliss we've been seeking our entire life. And it's finally here, now that we are beholding the beloved. There is no joy in just drinking the steam of our coffee. We yearn to drink the actual coffee itself. And to do so, we need to travel beneath the clouds or the steam to submerge into this lake, or our drink, our soul. We need to travel beneath all that we thought we were, the clouds, to dive into this deep lake that is our true essence. That is the only way we will be truly awake. That is the only way we will ever experience real love and bliss. Often, our ego will make us doubt the possibility of such a life-changing experience. It will conjure up story after story, telling us how this state of being isn't real, that even if it is, we will never reach it, that we will lose everything if we try pursuing it, and so on. The ego is petrified that, after years of us being under its control, we are now reclaiming our independence and returning to our true home under the love, safety, and protection of the beloved. But if you can just listen to that quiet inner voice that is your soul, you can break free from the ego's grasp and smash through that prison you've kept yourself in. This is the spirit of the fourth stanza. A reflection, a smile is all you think you see. But your third eye sees more if you can just believe. For nothing can truly hold what you have in store. Not a cup, not an ocean, not anything more. When we stare into our cup, when we stare into this lake, we think we see only a reflection and nothing more. Our ego tells us that it's not worth our time to plunge into the depths of our being. But our soul, the third eye, sees so much more. It sees the entire universe inside us. It sees us as the infinite, all-loving, and peaceful being that we truly are. And this profound realization shatters every mental concept we've ever known. Once we see the truth that we are the universe, that we are one with God, we learn that nothing can ever keep us trapped or hold us back. Not a cup, not an ocean, not anything more. Here and elsewhere in the poem, the cup containing our essence is the ego. It's the thing that is trying to contain, define, and limit us. But we are not the cup. We are what's inside it. And even if the cup shatters and the ego is destroyed, our essence still lives. In fact, that's the only way we'll realize it. The fifth stanza expands on and encourages this. So let the cup shatter, let the pieces spill around you. Only when you are broken can the one piece surround you. For just as leaves turn green after becoming red, you can only begin healing once you have bled. Once we move past the steam and clouds to see what's underneath the lake, there's only one way forward: to plunge inside. This is often the point in one's spiritual journey where fear and doubt can prevent complete self-annihilation. The ego pulls all the stops to make us drop what we're doing and return to its control, unconscious and unaware. But if one is bold and determined enough to make that leap from identifying with self to identifying with love, the choice is clear. Pick up the cup and smash it to pieces, letting the pieces spill around you. The ego is destroyed and true liberation occurs. It's only then that the seeker is finally able to declare peace and bliss as their own. Only when you are broken can the one peace surround you. Break who you thought you were and embrace who you truly are. For breaking, just like burning, heals. The last two lines of this stanza illustrate this further by pointing to a very prominent but oft-forgotten example in nature. If we pay attention closely, we'll see that many trees, plants, and flowers, when growing, first have red leaves before those leaves turn green. That bold red color symbolizes the blood, pain, and struggle we must first endure before growing and becoming enlightened. As is true in all of life, if there is no pain, there is no gain. And finally, once we have finally experienced the effects of love, it's time to now bring that with us into our daily life. It's not enough to just simply feel good in a moment of escapism. This love is meant to pervade your entire life, from the most spiritual experiences to the most mundane. Read this final stanza a few times. Listen closely and hear the bells ringing in the distance. It's time to let go of the pieces and leave this instance. Drink all you can, but know that it will never go away. Who you are inside, your essence, is always here to stay. The bells ringing in the distance refer to all the roles and responsibilities we have in life that keep calling back to us. No matter how spiritually advanced or enlightened we become, we will always have responsibilities to fulfill, including contributing to our jobs, taking care of our families, making a home, and so on. But fear not. Just because one has to return from their communion with love to tend to their daily activities, that does not mean that love is no longer present, or that we regress back to our former ego-dominated self. In fact, the opposite is true. The seeker who has seen, felt, and experienced the deepest love knows that it exists everywhere and can be summoned anytime. even when the mortal body withers and dies, the true essence that you are never vanishes. This is the meaning of the final two lines. We can always drink from this cup, from this love, but it will never run out. Our essence is always here to stay. So I hope you enjoyed this in-depth interpretation of one of my favorite original poems. Hopefully, now that you have a greater understanding of the meaning, you'll enjoy the poem even more, and perhaps use it as a reference or reminder for whenever you feel like you are just the cup and not what's inside.